Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to the Muslim Career Guide with your host, Elia Kayoum. Today I am joined with Sister Nazia. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Alia. Really wonderful to be here. And
Mhm,
Ramadan Mubarak to all. So we just begun the first day of Ramadan. Really
mhm,
glad to be a part of this initiative.
mhm.
Thanks for having me over.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. So for those of the viewers who want to know more about you, what do you do? Like, who are you? If you could give that brief introduction, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm Nazia, Nazia Sharieff. I'm originally from Bangalore, India, and I live currently in Qatar. And I'm an IT engineer. So I did my bachelor's of engineering in information science. So it was a fairly new course when I took up this course, and I've been working like for the past 14 years now. So I have like 14 years of experience, alhamdulillah, in the IT industry, and I started as a software developer, and then I explored different fields in IT. So I moved into consulting and then eventually now into something called as risk management, audit, and compliance. So,
Wow, yeah, Masha, that's great. So honestly, like that's so cool just to see all the different experiences that you have, and I'm really excited to dive deep into those. But before we do that, I like to do like icebreaker rapid fire questions, I guess. I'm thinking like super brief, quick questions, and you can give your most recent and quick
yeah.
answer. So, what is your favorite emoji?
Yeah, I think the smiley and maybe the one with the one which is like naughty and has that winky eye. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's
what
the
my
one.
favorite. Yeah. What is your favorite book?
Favorite book? I haven't been reading, I mean, like proper physical books of late because I'm
Hmm.
like a mother of two young kids. So I have like my days like packed behind these kids. So
Hmm.
the one I read a long time ago, I think when I was in my college days was uh, Paulo Coelho. I
Oh,
forget the book's name. Um, I forget the book's name, but I remember the book. It was one which had a huge impact. It's about like the dreams and how the dreams come true, and I just can't recall the name somehow. It's a very famous book, and also this one book by Khalil Gibran, the Thousand Splendid. Uh, I forget again the name of that book also. Thousands of Splendid Suns, I think. Yeah,
oh, yeah. I think I know what you're talking
that's
about. A Thousand Splendid Suns. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
A Thousand Splendid Suns, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't read
that's
it
the
yet.
one.
Yeah.
And Paulo Coelho is one more book by Paulo Coelho, which is, I mean, he has quite a few books, and I also follow him on social media. But I think there is one particular book which he's like very fan. Alchemist, The Alchemist. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't read those ones, but definitely like I've
Yeah.
read his a few of his books and they're really, really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
what's your favorite movie?
Movie. Okay, recently I watched The Queen's Gambit, which is like a short Netflix movie with my
Mm,
kid. Like it's a movie about this amazing young lady who goes on to become like the first female grandmaster in chess. She
wow.
breaks all stereotypes, and she goes on to win like all the tournaments, and she turns out to be like this super brilliant person, and
Mm,
who just like improves her skills. And she's also like a prodigy. She has this this innate skill to play chess, and she just goes on like winning tournaments, and how she breaks all the stereotypes and gets to that grandmaster level. So it's quite interesting, and it was like a huge hit. And I think it was watched like one of the most watched series on Netflix.
wow. Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I was just like, I wanted my kid. It's not like for the younger kids, but yes, like with parents, maybe you can skip a few the scenes here and there, and you can watch it like with kids because it's really motivating, for the
Mm,
kids.
yeah, that's cool. Definitely good to know. And the last one is what's one thing that you don't understand?
What's the one thing that I sorry?
You don't understand.
I don't understand. Okay. I think the one thing that I don't understand and find really hard is Arabic. Like I'm in an Arabic country.
Yeah.
Arabic is a very tough language, and the local dialect is even more tough. It's nothing like the Quran Arabic. So I've done like my basic Arabic, but still it's very difficult to pick up. Like because we have so many people here in Qatar from different countries
Mm-hmm.
and with different dialects. Like we have people from different Arab regions, like people from Egypt have a different dialect. Local Qataris have a different dialect, so it's very difficult to pick up the accent. So that's one thing I'm like really trying to understand. And yeah, it's been quite a journey. I think I have to go to the advanced level now to
Yeah,
understand. Yeah.
that's awesome. I actually didn't know how many dialects there was of Arabic. That's actually really cool to know. But we'll jump right into the interview questions. So my first question for
Okay.
you is, what is an IT engineer?
Yeah, IT engineer is like pretty different. I mean, we have like different streams. There's something called as computer science engineers, and then we have IT engineers also. So we basically manage like the systems, like a computer system. So we manage everything like for the whole life cycle, from the software to the hardware to the data. So throughout like the system cycle, like when you look at a computer system, whatever cycle it goes through, like
Right.
if you have any issues and troubleshooting, like maybe from the software side to the hardware side. So when you have to install softwares and any kind of applications, the entire cycle of it. So we look at it end to end. Like computer engineers could essentially be like just the hardware. They could be just managing the hardware part of it and the system as such.
Mm-hmm.
And but then we like manage also the software side of it, and do end-to-end management of these information systems, like data, how to manage data, how to secure these systems, and how to use these systems, how to make them more efficient, maybe how to also automate certain processes, like now everywhere computers are used, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our role is like integral to making sure that these systems work.
Yeah, that's so cool. You're pretty much overseeing the whole cycle that goes into building
Yeah.
any product, whether it's a product or whether it's like a software. Like you're overseeing all that. That's super cool. What were the levels of education that you had to go through to get your IT engineer,
Yeah.
degree, or just to get into the career field?
Yeah, I mean, back then, like I said, when I started off, this was a fairly new stream, which had been
Mm,
introduced in my university. So we were like one of the, I think, only the second batch to have enrolled in this course. But
right.
now, like, there are people have lots of opportunities. There's so much in IT. It's not like just restricted to information technology like I did. You can go deeper. There are you can specialize in different areas. Like you can start off with. Probably you can directly get into cybersecurity, where information
Mm-hmm.
security is big these days. So that's like one of the hottest fields of IT right now. And then you can also get into different areas, like there's something called as artificial intelligence. And then you have cloud technology, and then you have different aspects to it now. So there are the latest ones, like there is cryptography, and there's so much to it. So basically you would have to start by completing your like schooling, and then you have to probably do an undergrad degree in science, or usually the traditional way to do it was to get into a science stream and then break into IT. But these days there are a lot of opportunities out there, so people don't have to necessarily be from a science field. I know a lot of people, because I do also career coaching for young girls and women, and I have seen that a lot of non STEM, like science, tech, engineering, mathematics, people who are
Mm-hmm.
from like commerce backgrounds, and who are from law background, and who are from like maybe arts and communications, they have like made a move into this field, because this is something like nowadays it's easy, like anybody can code from anywhere, they can learn coding. There are lots of websites that offer free coding.
So yeah.
Similarly, it's like if you like get in touch with the right mentors and the right people to guide you, then you can also break into IT if you are a non-STEM person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually really cool. And like I've noticed that too, where it's like you can specialize in so many different routes, and like there's so much to IT, and now it's not just like one group. You can
Yeah,
choose so like there's just so many branches that you can choose from.
yeah,
Hmm. And
there's
how
so
did you
much.
know you wanted to become an engineer? And then how did you know you want to specialize
Yeah.
specifically in IT and not something else?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't know if I wanted to be an engineer, because I was like, I had like my mom, she's an engineer, she's an electronics engineer. So back then she broke some stereotypes, and she got into engineering. So she was into electronics engineering, and she is a working woman who worked like for like 35 years, and she completed her whole term, and so she was an inspiration for entering STEM. And then I had my older brother who was also an engineer, who went into mechanical engineering. So those two people had a big influence on me to get into engineering. And if you know, like Indian parents, most of them, they either coax you into to go into doctor, take up medicine, or to become an engineer. So that's the route you traditionally have to take up. But I wasn't sure if it was going to be IT. I knew like it's either going to be medicine or it's got to be like something in engineering. But uh, I had like a few choices, like either computers or IT, or some of the architecture, I think. But architecture is like in India is like 5 years, so I didn't want to do a 5 year course. So this was something which was like new, a new stream then. And like information science was had just like come up. So I thought like, okay, let me give this a shot. Maybe this is something new and I could get into this. So that's how I got into IT and like engineering as such. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool that you had someone to look up to see like what it was like to be an engineer. Because even though maybe they couldn't work with them per se, like you just saw what maybe it was like for them and what maybe the work and life balance was like. So that's really cool how you had that such a strong
Yeah.
influence around you. Mhm. And what are some of the daily responsibilities of an IT engineer?
Yeah, it depends on like which area you're working in. Like, if you are into the development, there are different, like I said, there's a whole life cycle to it. So,
Mhm.
like, if which area you're in, like, if you're into development, like, daily task would be to code and to, complete certain modules and code for your company. And, they'll be assigned some part of it, they'll assign you some functionalities, or they'll ask you to work on something which you code on. That's
Mhm.
like usually what developers do. Then they'll have to test. There are testers who will test that code, make sure that there are no bugs or defects in it and it's working as per what the customer or what the client wants. And then
Mhm.
there are again like designers, and then we have like project managers who manage like the entire project cycle. So their daily task would involve managing the whole team and the timelines for the projects, making sure these projects are delivered on time and they are delivered within the budget. Then you have different there is the other side of it where you have like backend teams, like like for example, now when you're working at a firm, or even like you connecting to so this in Wi-Fi, or your systems have to be up,
Mhm.
the routers, and the technical part of it, everything has to be taken care of. You have to make sure that your network is up. And we know that how dependent we are on Wi-Fi. So there's a whole team which does the networking part, and they handle all these Wi-Fi's, setting up and making sure that you're getting proper connection, you're staying connected. So there's
Yeah.
that. There are the networking guys. So I'm into the, and then there are consultants who actually go and like work with clients, and they give them technical solutions. Like now every industry is dependent on IT, banking, hospitality, medicine, you name it. And they're all dependent on IT. So there are consultants who go in and offer like solutions to automate these processes in banks and hospitals. And so consultants are mainly responsible for that, to find solutions for the different sectors. They work
Mhm.
with different sectors. And then there is also like what I do, which is like auditing and compliance, which is like making sure that we have some standards, right? Like every country has some laws and regulations to be followed. So we have to ensure that the whatever data is being created, the way systems are being managed, and the way we handle these applications, we are complying with the local regulations. Like wherever we are, like whether we're in US and Canada or UK or India, we have our local laws which we need to follow, and need to ensure that the customer data is secure. We are keeping it
Mhm.
secure. We don't have hackers coming and attacking, and we are keeping the data safe. So, and also auditing is where we check like whether these all these measures have been put in, all these safeguards are in place, and we
Mhm.
actually that assurance that like, okay, these systems are safe. We tell the customers like, okay, you are using this banking application today, the mobile application, your data is safe. You can do this transaction without worrying that your data is going to be leaked.
Right.
So so these are some of the things. So daily tasks like could vary depending on which stream you're in. Yeah.
Mhm. That's so interesting that like there's so many moving parts going on at once. Like there's the parts where you're
Yeah.
actually building it, but then there's the parts of the upkeep that you need to make sure that's still going and it's running and you're not running into any issues. So that is really important. And I guess we don't really think about that much of how much upkeep goes into working in IT and things like that. So it's really interesting to want to know more about that.
Yeah.
And what is the hardest part about being an IT engineer and an auditor like you?
I think, like I said, IT is like technology itself. If you see, it's such a huge field. It's so
Mm-hmm.
diverse that there are so many like different areas and different technologies, and every day there's something new coming up. So I think the toughest part of being in technology is like trying to stay up to date with the latest in technology, because every day there's something new coming up. So
Mm-hmm.
there's like something like cloud. We have something called as like we have these days bitcoins, and then we have in cybersecurity there are latest softwares, and so everything, it's like the field is like so dynamic, and it's like so much innovation is happening throughout the world. Like there's always something new being discovered, something new being added to the existing knowledge base, and to keep up to date with that, to keep abreast with these latest technologies, latest happenings in the industry, is quite a challenge. And there's always like a new regulation that comes in, a new this thing technology, and then there's a new certification, and then you have to do a lot of certifications to keep up with this industry. So that's where I think like the challenges, and most of these certifications are like super expensive also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So sometimes, the companies don't sponsor the candidate, like, or the employees. They find it difficult to like stay up to date, with the
Mm-hmm.
latest.
Yeah, do you like having a new change every day when, because like you said, there's always changes and updates in technology. Like, do you like having that fresh change every day and not going into work doing the same thing consistently?
I get used to it over the years. You will understand that it's all part of like improving and growing your knowledge, and and that's the best part about it. Like if you that's what happened with me. Like if you are bored in one area, you can always switch areas here. Within IT itself, you can move to different domains. Like so there's nothing like, okay, I started as a developer, I have to stay as a developer till I like retire.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that. IT is so dynamic.
Yeah.
You can start at There are a lot of people who start off as developers, then they move into like maybe testing, they go into project management, then they move into consulting, or maybe they'll get into the technical side of it, or cybersecurity or networking. So it's like this, it's so huge. Or even you could just be like on the business side of it, or be just like an analyst, or so it's so diverse that you could do like something for 3 years, and if you don't like it, or 1 or 2 years, you can dabble around, and then if you don't like it, you can always switch your stream, you can always move to a different stream. Yeah.
That's so nice to know that, and it kind of feels relieves the pressure for many people to know that you're not stuck to one, stream. You have multiple streams. So if you go into a stream that you thought you would like, but guess what, maybe you hate it, you can go to something else that you find and you can go out. So I think that's really interesting and cool to have. Mhm. So we can now jump into the questions for Muslim women in STEM. So first off, what is Muslim women in STEM? I know you started that recently. So what is that?
Yeah, sorry, I think
That's okay.
the video just got off. Yeah. So, Muslim Women in STEM is like an initiative that I started originally, I think like 1 year or 2 years ago, to inspire like everywhere I went. Usually, this has been like, I've seen this everywhere I've gone, like whether it's India or in Qatar, and Muslim women are hardly there in STEM fields. Like you never get to see like in Muslim women in like engineering or IT or the latest fields. So
Yeah.
usually I'm like the only one in the room, in the meeting rooms and the conference calls, and everywhere we go. So I found that there is a lack of Muslim women in STEM fields. And even medicine, I see like a lot of them here in the Middle East, but back in India, I hardly used to see any Muslim women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So I think the connection is also like a little. Is it? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So yeah, Muslim Women in STEM was started as an initiative to encourage more Muslim women and to enter into science, tech, engineering, and maths field. So I saw that there was a lack of women in these fields, and wherever we go, like we usually see a lot of non-Muslim women, but there's
Mm-hmm.
hardly any Muslim women out there. You see a lot of doctors. out here, and I think even in India you would see a lot of doctors, but in technology and engineering you hardly see any women.
Yeah, you
And
don't.
even if you see, they you would probably see them in the early stages of the career, like when I was starting out. A lot of my friends and colleagues who were Muslims, but eventually, or I think down the years, once they like get married and have kids, it's very difficult for women to pursue their career ambitions, and they usually like step out or they take like a break, and motherhood usually makes like there is a statistic, as per the statistics, I think most of the times it's like, even otherwise not even Muslim women in general tend to quit STEM fields like after 5 to 10 years. I think after 10 years it's like the highest dropout happens after like 10 years with their
Wow.
career. So considering that, in general, women itself like move out of STEM fields, and Muslim women don't even make it that far, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, like even my own circle of friends, like with the number of Muslim women or Muslim girls who graduated from my college, if I like have to look around and see how many of them are working today, I can hardly name, even I think like other than me, I know probably like maybe one person out of like the number of hundreds of them who graduated. We had like just two women, two girls in my class alone, and I've always seen like the emphasis on education is not that great, and yeah, because of all these family responsibilities and other things, it's like we don't pursue our career and we just give it up and we sacrifice it for other things. Yeah.
Right. And what was the first step that you took to help prepare for or to start Muslim Women in STEM? Like, what was the first step you took?
Um, Actually, the first thing was obviously I noticed that there was this lack of representation for Muslim
Mm,
women, and I thought that we should start raising awareness. And I used to read a lot about the older generation, like from the companions of the Prophet, and how they were like Khadija radiallahu anhu, and
mm,
the Ummatul Muslimin, like the how amazing they were, and like how Khadija radiallahu anhu was a businesswoman and still she was
yeah,
managing the home. And then we have other Rufaida, who is like she was one of the companions, and she was supposed to be one of the first nurses in
yeah,
like Islam, and who was to tend to the soldiers during the wars. And we had I started digging into the past and like started reading about all these amazing women in our history, and I
mm,
started sharing this just to let women know that these women could do it back then, and we still like holding on to this, I don't know, this ideology that it's either or, like you can have either like a career or you can have like a family, you can't do both. But when we had like women in the past who were managing families as well as like the deen and also contributing to the dunya, so
right.
gaining knowledge was essential and was emphasized, and that's why we had so many illustrious scholars and calligraphers, and we had even astronomers back then who were like female.
Mm,
And they were like, and I started digging into history, and I came up with some amazing women, and I shared them on my account. Like I do like these posts regularly, wherein I post about one person who is from like the past, who's been like who's done some major contributions in any of these fields. And I also like bring into focus all these highlight these women currently who are like our contemporaries, or women who are like older than us, who've been pioneers in this field, and who have broken stereotypes.
Yeah, and you mentioned the female companions too, and it goes to show like they didn't have as much representation either when it came to females in the field. So it's like it's so cool just to look up to them as inspiration that even though today there might not be as much representation, like they still broke barriers and they still broke stereotypes. So that's
Yeah.
definitely like the role models to look up to. And my last question is if you could give any piece of advice to a girl, a female who wants to pursue a career in tech, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, in general, like if anybody wants to pursue a career not only in tech, science, tech, engineering, or maths, because I'm promoting STEM
Yeah.
overall, because STEM is like the way to go. And if you read these statistics, it's like by 2000, I think 2030 itself, like STEM fields will be like the most sought after fields, and these will be the fields wherein we'll have the most high paying jobs. And this
Mm-hmm.
is like where the youth should be heading. And if they want to like make a career and be a part of this whole innovation and technology trend, then this is the way they should be going forward to. And I think science, tech, and engineering, maths, it's like if you're really keen, or if you have a passion for science or tech and engineering or maths, there are multitude of resources. It's like there's no dearth of resources today. If you go to Google, you'll find there are a lot of STEM initiatives, especially for young girls, a lot of STEM groups.
Yeah.
I follow a lot of accounts, and I do post and share about like scholarships and initiatives, and there are like initiatives like Girls Who Code, then who are encouraging girls to get into coding, and there are boot
Mm-hmm.
camps, and so there's a lot that's happening today. And it's just that you need to be connected, well connected with such groups, and probably look for connect with seniors in your college or school who are passionate about STEM fields. And if you have like clubs, like there are some colleges have robotics club, and they have coding clubs. So become a part of such clubs and science clubs. That's how you start off, and you get to know like what's happening in the industry, and what's being offered to students, and be aware of like there are a lot of scholarships being offered, especially in Canada. I posted about there is a I think in Canada there is Max Gala. They offer like scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
There's a group called Max Gala, whom I follow on LinkedIn, and they offer scholarships. And they are offering currently STEM scholarships for young women in STEM who are excelling and doing very well academically. So there are Muslim initiatives. There are also other initiatives like from the government as well as from different groups. And there are also now we need diversity in STEM. So there's a huge emphasis on bringing in a lot of people from diverse backgrounds and ethnicities, like from
Mm-hmm.
people from Asia, and people from the Black community, and
Yeah.
from the Latin community. So there are a lot of accounts, and if you go on Instagram nowadays, people are very vocal about it. They're using this platform to raise awareness. So there are a lot of accounts which I follow where they talk about like the PhD journey, they talk about their journey and like how they got into NASA or aeronautics, and
Yeah.
whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
biochemistry, biotech, you know, research, anything you want to know about, or technology for that matter.
Yeah, it's all
So
there.
people are sharing. So I think you don't have, it's like, it's not about not having resources these days. It's just about having too much information. It's just
Yeah.
about like finding what you like, and then like, following only probably, those people or those platforms and
Yeah.
connecting with those
100.
people. Yeah, because it's
100%.
like for you guys, it's not, the challenge is that you have too much information out there, and you don't know like how to navigate through that information, and sometimes you might get lost. So I think that's where you need like a mentor, or you need like somebody to guide you and help you, and preferably someone who is like a senior and alumni, or if
Yeah.
or even like if you can connect with mentors. A lot of people groups offering mentorship, who are
Yeah.
like volunteering to mentor young girls in STEM. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Sister Nadia, where can everyone find you? Because I know you are a mentor and a career coach. So where can they find you?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
Where can they find you?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also like,